Welcome to Saltwater Cycles. I'm Greg, I'll be your host. Wanted to follow up with y'all on this build and show you how it ended up. I'm going to show you some still photos and show you the dry side and all that. I think it came out pretty well, and I will say there were a lot of hurdles I had to jump through on this build. So it's been a challenge, but it's really a fun bike. I've enjoyed it. Oh, these Tufo tires! Wow, these things are nice. I'm enjoying them. I wouldn't even hesitate. Just order up a pack from them. You know, order up 2 or 3 tires and some rim tape. I wouldn't even hesitate. The stuff's amazing. I'd give them a 5-star. Straight up. Super soft compound on the tread, and cornering is going to be no problem whatsoever, even at high pressures. So yeah, I wouldn't hesitate on the Tufo. Follow their tutorials they have on doing tubular and installation guide using rim tape. That's all I did. I just followed their tutorial on how to do that, and these came out nicely, and you don't have all that glue all over your hands, and trying to put the tire on with one of the surfaces wet and all that. You don't have any of that. So that part of it's really refreshing in terms of tubular. The tubular tape, it's really refreshing compared to messing with the tubasti and all that. So, absolutely recommend it. I may build tubular on my next bike or on my next set of wheels. As promised, I wanted to show you the build after I got it done. This is the bike that I was inspired to build, kind of emulate my Polish bike, and I have some check brakes on here. I'm going to show you all some still photos of taken outside to show you all the details, but I just wanted to kind of get the most of the bike in the picture while I was talking about it. And I've been pleased with the Tufo tires. They're reminiscent of my Polish bike they weren't Tufo, they were some kind of Czechoslovakian tire that hardly ever required to have air. You hardly ever had to put air in them. Like maybe once every 2 weeks or 20 days you'd have to pump them up. Well, this reminds me of that, because I've been pumping them up to about 100 or just right in there, maybe a little higher, 105, and really, unless you want it back up there, you can just ride it for, I've taken it out like 4 times. You can ride it for like 2 weeks without, saying, well, hey, these are down to 80. And actually 80 will give you more comfort. But I like a pressure in the tire that'll actually kick stones out, like when you go over a sharp stone. I like a pressure in a tire that'll kick it out of the way, so that it doesn't just sit there and cut into your tread as you go over it. So they're still comfortable at 80. These are 28C. They're very comfortable at 80, and I've been running them around 100, around 90, 100. I've taken them out a few times, and they're comfortable with a herringbone tread. I'll show you. And the one thing I have noticed is for hot weather, they have a tendency where they want to like pick up little bits of debris off the road, just little tiny pieces of gravel and that kind of stuff, real tiny stuff, and don't let go of it. So I'm thinking that's when it's hotter, it's even softer. So because it didn't do that when I took it out for my night rides. I didn't have anything like that I heard coming back up in my tread. So it might be an idea to have one of those little skimmers for one of those old-fashioned skimmers for the tubulars. Might be an idea if you wanted to run this in the hot weather. you know. But I'd really recommend them for a great training tread or race tread, or I would think they'd make excellent winter tires. But very comfortable ride. They went on well. The taping procedure, you can watch their tutorials on how to do it. You just clean up the rim real nice, hit it lightly with some fine sandpaper, clean it again with some solvent, and then put your tape down, and then you remove part of your tape. And I did it just the way they show it on their YouTube video of how to install. I did it just like they said. I stretched them out for a day or two after I built the wheels. I stretched them out on the rim, never inflated them, just put them on the rim, let them set for like 24, 48 hours, and then did the install, so they were easy to stretch over the rim. I think it was the rear. I had a hard time getting it on the first time. The rear, it was hard to get that just over the last bit of rim, but no problem after I stretched it out. This one went on slightly easier, but yeah, really nice. And I'm happy with the tape. It's not messy, and it's super sticky. Seems to do the job nicely. So I'd give them 5-star. I mean, these are the high composite carbon Tufo tubulars, 28s. I might build up some of those rims that have knurled braking surface for my next set, because I really like that knurled braking surface. That gives you a really nice stopping power. A lot of I know I mentioned in a video about how building a French bike, a quality French bike, there's some hurdles you have to go through, but is it worth it? And I said, well, definitely it is. Well, it is, but I can tell you there were several hurdles on this one, probably more than any French bike I've ever built. I had to take a file to get my bottom race on. The interference fit was, there was too much material there, so I had to take a file to it. So it would have been good to size that prior to doing the paint, which I did not. That was a bit of a hassle. A few things like that, like the insertion on the stems is 22.0 on a vintage. On anything before pretty much anything before the 80s, it's a 22.0 insertion on the stem. Those are really hard to find. When I built my Pincello, my first Pincello, I found one just like this with a 22 insertion. Those are just like, you'd have to be shopping at stores in Paris to find those nowadays. There's not even on the internet. You can find some, but if you're looking for like a modern look, or if you're looking for, you don't want that super retro 1950s look, and you want to have some selection in terms of length, it's just not there on the internet. You're going to wait months, maybe years to find what you want, and it'll probably be unused. So what I did is I took sandpaper to this to remove 0.2 mil off the stem so that it fit nicely. I took like an 80 grit or a 120 grit and just sanded it, and I got it to where it just goes in really nice right down to the insertion mark, and that's where it would start to tighten up a bit, which is perfect. I didn't have to adjust the wedge at all. It already fit in beautifully, so that was good. But yeah, every step of the way on this bike, there were lots of things that I had to. So if you're not truly inspired to do a French bike, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you are, they are worth it. The ride is phenomenal. I love this bike. It's kind of like listening to Leon Russell, Back to the Island, and taking it to times gone by. And the ride is phenomenal. Really, really tight, really, really stiff, very forgiving frame also. I mean, it's almost an inversion, like contradictions in terms. It rides so beautifully. It's so stiff. It's just the perfect mix. The geometry's perfect. It is a bit difficult to find brakes for something like this because what I found is that this is just beyond a short reach. The front is just beyond a short reach, and the rear is just beyond what a medium reach ordinarily would be. Well, these favorite brakes, these check brakes, I've got these to minimum in the front, which work fine, and I've got them most of the way down in the rear. So the reach in the rear is most brakes wouldn't even reach it. Even some of the French ones, the French ones I've been using more recently, even in a medium, with a medium reach, won't even reach that. So these are a match set, but I have these higher and those lower, and I wanted to use these check brakes anyway because I was emulating my Polish bike. So these are the brakes I wanted to use regardless, and they worked out fine. Yeah, there was just a lot of little things. I wanted to use this this Henri Gauthier saddle that I've had for quite some time, and I guess I forgot why I'd never used it on a build. But I've taken a hit on weight because it has these really heavy steel rails, and they're not straight. So most of your seat post clamps won't even conform to it. Like you can't even get it to fit in this particular one. And it's the race style Henri Gauthier is why it was never used. And then I bought it and I forgot why I hadn't used it, but I love the seat. I love the saddle. I'm so glad I used it. I took a hit on the weight because it's a heavier saddle, and that steel clamping system and the way it's designed has allowed me to just barely, so I'm to the minimum tolerance in the front and to the maximum tolerance in the rear, and it's not going anywhere. I'm not moving it front or aft at all. So I like it. I've got the Simplex. Sorry, usually you have your bike turned around the other way. I'm going to show you some other pictures. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about was these, the idea that you can only show a bike from one side. Now that makes sense when you're showing off your build. That makes sense. You want to show your crankset. You want to show your derailleurs, things like that. Your freewheel, your chain, things like that. So I absolutely understand it. I'm not arguing that point. But I actually really enjoy pictures of bicycles from the non-dry side. And I think the reason being is it's more inviting to me because I mount and dismount from the non-drive side. So to me, it's like, yeah, man, let's hop on and ride. So I really like pictures. I'm going to show you other pictures for the drive side, but it's just something that's been in my mind. That, a lot of people say, well, you can only show pictures of bicycles from one. That's like saying you can't take a picture of a car with the hood without the hood open. I mean, it's still a bicycle. Yeah, you're not looking at the drive side. So to me, like a bicycle, not so much in a stand, but on the ground, I actually enjoy pictures of bikes that are from the non-drive side quite a lot because to me, they're like, yeah, that's really inviting, man. I could just hop on because I put my foot on, throw my leg over, and I'm riding. Where the other side, from the drive side, I'm going to walk around the bike before I get on. So just a little bit less inviting in terms of riding it. Yeah, I made up some leather for the handlebar wrap and decided to go with a wrap rather than a stitch since I'm going with arrow installation on the cables. So, and that worked out nice, and it gives you more comfort. But I tell you what, it's like I cut the pieces myself out of a hide of leather because I found a leather that had a pretty good match on the color, and stitched these on. I stitched these on, and yeah, it's like almost 3 yards. It's like it's a little beyond 2.5 yards of material that you want for making a handlebar tape at about 1 1/4 inch width. So, but yeah, I really like it. It came out nicely, and I got it done without using any finishing tape. I really like that. So I'm happy with the build, and it rides really, really nicely. It really does. It's a 10-speed. Yeah, I had one other bike I painted this color, and then I had my Polish bike, which was about this color. I noticed it doesn't pick up gravel and stuff the way it does during the day. At night when it's cool. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this bike. It's fun. It's a super mighty on the crank. I was able to find a super mighty at a really reasonable price, and this is one of the things about French. This had a French thread on the and they were honest about it. It was French thread pedals on the crank. This crank set, I think I paid about right around $300, but it's got the drillium. It looks like a Zeus 2000 basically, and it's just as nice as a Zeus 2000. But they were honest about that, which kept it from being a $400 or $500 type crank on, because in new old stock, new in the box, yeah, you just don't see that too much. And it's hard to find a really, really nice crank like that new in the box, and that's what I got here. So I mean, it's not new anymore. It's obviously it's new. It's no longer new old stock, but that's what I put on here, and I'm enjoying the bike. It's been a really fun ride. But as I said, if you're thinking about doing a French bike, I think it's a great thing. Just take your time, and you got it. Certain things you're going to have to work through as you build. So just best not to do try to force it. Just go out, enjoy your rides on your other bike while you're working on it, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure everything out. I can tell you the diameter on the clamp. If you have a down tube shifter, for example, with a French frame, you want the French derailleur, you want the French shifters, because there's a 0.2 millimeter difference in the diameter of the tubing itself. Where to research all that before diving in, or you're going to find yourself buying more things than you need to buy. Just like I end up buying 2 seat posts in order to get to use this. There's lots of little things that take time to work out. I had the stuck bottom bracket. I had so many things on this that I knew I was getting into, but it was a challenging build, but I love the bike. I love it. So I'll show you some more pictures. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're inspired to build a French bike, they're a lot of fun. It really is a nice ride. I love the way this bike rides. It's very responsive. You've got space here. Look how long these toe clips are here. I don't know what's with that bearing. These toe clips are at about max length you can get for a toe clip. And that's one of the nice things about the vintage. You have a bit more clearance there on the vintage rake on the fork. So you have a bit more toe clearance, and that's good if you wanted, if for example you had a build where you wanted to, I don't know why that tightened up. That tightened up when I tightened it down to the crankset a bit. I need to do something with the bearings on that pedal. But yeah, I put the Zeus 2000, found some Zeus 2000, super lightweight, nice, just regular road pedals, but in a super lightweight version, titanium axle kind of thing. And for some reason, when I tightened it down to the crank arm, it seemed to tighten up the bearings somehow doing that. I'm not sure. I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't looked at it. But it's fun to ride. I'm having fun with it. So thanks for checking in. I wouldn't even hesitate on buying Tufo tires. I know they make clinchers, they make tubeless tires, and I can't speak to that. I have no idea, but I'm sure, you know, they have really nice quality control on a tubular, much more difficult to do than quality control on a tubeless. But I can't really speak to it. I've never tried their tubeless, but tubular, they're beautiful. I love them. And they have some other ones. They have some, these they consider sort of like a training tire or a winter tire. They have some that are designed more for race and that are more expensive than these. But these are nice. These are really nice. I'm enjoying them. I'm thinking I'm going to go 26 millimeter if I try the vintage rims, because the gluing surface is a bit narrower. So I'm going to go just a bit narrower with the tire too if I try the vintage rims. But yeah, I'm enjoying this ride. I'm glad. All right. Well, thanks for checking in with me. I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your day. Let's get out for a ride. All right.